Hi. Hey. Hey, George.
Where'd you go last night?
Last night? I had a musician's happy hour. Why? Oh, yeah, I rode my bike. Yeah, buddy. Woo, woo, woo. Hey. 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 Hey.
I think somebody's gonna have to share.
Hey. How them levels? How them levels at? Woo!
Please stop talking.
Welcome to another week of the Buffalo Game Space podcast.
Great.
Aw, Pat, god damn it. Talked right over the thing I said. All right, we can do a quick.
Right when I was
All right, quick one. We can save this. Welcome to another week of the Buffalo Game Space podcast. It's fine. We're in. We're keeping it. We're in. I'm a host, Greg Giles.
I'm Ryan Mallette.
Clark Dever. John Futscher.
I'm crying.
Good.
And I'm Kendall.
Crying Pat Kesterson.
Hey,
That's
Pat.
it.
Oh, God.
You all right? That was a rough intro.
Some of it went up my nose.
Oh no.
Some of the intro.
Yeah. Some of the intro definitely went up my nose.
That's where the intro went.
It was. I mean, there were a couple of takes for you listeners at home.
Oh, I'm good now.
Our one YouTube commenter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
I gotta get that guy's name because
Shout out.
this is all for him.
Thanks, Mom.
Shout out to Smokeweed 42069.
You guys are awesome. XXXX.
Yeah.
Pat actually offered Ryan a bump of intro, but he doesn't do drugs, so he turned it down.
Yeah. It's in the trunk of my car. So much intro. Fresh cut from Colombia.
Well, we're good. we just had a whole bunch. But
High on intro.
speaking of intro,
You want me to lead it off?
give me an intro, to
No.
Battlefield.
That was amazing.
Oh, God, that was
All
awful.
right.
No.
Right?
So we can cut
No.
that,
All
right?
right. So somebody put a speed bump down because that was too smooth. All right. So Battlefield 1 beta started like 2 or 3 days ago. If you got like the insider bullshit, played
And
it early.
you and Ryan have played this.
Yeah.
Correct.
Drunk.
Partially.
Mostly.
I played some of it drunk as well, but I also played some sober, so I know a little bit of both worlds.
Cool.
So you have
How
some
does it
memory of
differ?
this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not much. I think it was better when I was drunk. I mean, it's a beta, so like the first day is always going to be useless.
When
just
is it
'cause
coming out?
October or something.
Okay.
Later October, or like it's one of like the ones that are coming out in that chunk of time.
Yeah.
So what mode is available in this beta?
Conquest and Rush.
Oh,
And I
there's
think-
Rush? I only play
Yeah,
Conquest.
and
Shit.
there's one map. It's the
Ill-prepared.
same map, just in the different Rush than Conquest.
Oh, that's
format.
interesting.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're actually pretty different.
Yeah.
Just because, like, one, there's like this Armored Train of Doom.
Which one is this?
That's the Conquest mode.
Okay.
And then Rush is, well, just your standard Rush mode.
I don't know what that means.
So instead of Conquest, which is like open map and everything.
Oh,
Rush,
like tickets?
Yeah.
Still tickets.
So still tickets, but instead of open world kind of taking points on the map, there's a set point that like an attack and defense is set.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then as like the attackers overtake a point, then like the defenders have to fall back until
Yeah.
they're to the final point. So if the defenders hold off the attackers, they win. If the attackers take the final point, they win.
It's a little bit more of like a condensed Conquest mode. It feels they released it with the first Bad Company, and they just like refined it ever since. It's perfect for the console. But there's the 2 points, and then if the attackers take it, to push back. And here's the thing.
Wait, why is it perfect for console?
Just because it's a little bit more condensed, especially when originally there wasn't the full 64 players like on PC for Battlefield.
Yeah.
So there is now, but that was like a good way of like closing the map down a bit
okay.
and like making sure that everybody was in the action constantly.
That makes sense.
It's a great
That's
idea.
why I like that mode because
Yeah.
like sometimes a good game of Conquest is great, but like sometimes you just feel like you're in this giant world by yourself
Where you're hoofing
and
it.
you're just running for 10 minutes just to get to a point and get shot in the head like 2 seconds later.
Yeah, I always liked Rush better.
Rush, it became my favorite.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Rush this time is that normally there's like 4 points total, and then it's game over. This one, there's legit like 9.
Really?
Like you go for a while, and like
That implies it's more than twice the length. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, something like that. Like it's
Math.
Math is.
I got it. I know math.
I don't do that shit here.
2.5.
But yeah, no, it made it a lot more of a slugfest, just cause. But
So, returning game modes and all that, like, what's different about the new Battlefield versus like for the people who've played like 3 and 4 and Bad Company and whatnot? What's different about this one, and what's your take on it then?
the difference, as far as I can tell right now, unless there's different game modes wise, there is jack all difference. It's the exact same thing, which is what you kind of expect, and that's like kind of the comfort of going into it. You know at least how to play it. Maybe what they're doing now is like the gear is different, but the actual game itself is. The gear is obviously infinitely different because it's World War One.
Yeah, that was what I'm wondering right now. Is like, does that actually matter?
That's where shit gets bad.
Okay. Interesting.
How are the
dear.
horses? Horse business.
All right. I'm gonna before I even get to that, like
Can I hear someone
Man, you
say
got a
horse
huge,
shit?
like, yeah, got a
you
huge
should have
list of-
seen. I literally last night wrote a list down of shit.
a literal shit list.
Of shit.
Yeah.
It's literally just shit all over. But
All right then.
but I know, like, for a beta, obviously it's gonna be a beta. Like, it's gonna be weak, very unstable.
Really limited, and like, who really knows what you get? What you know?
But like, I mean, the thing is, when you get in the map and like in the game, that's what it is. Like, and everything's there. You can see it all, and it feels like you actually have like a pretty good chunk of the game. Like, you could actually understand what the game is from this chunk. So in that regard, it's actually great. The fact that it took the main menu 20 seconds to load up when I hit the start button is not great.
You're playing this on Xbox One,
On Xbox One, I have played on PC as well.
right? And Ryan, you played it on PC.
Yeah.
So
Man,
and
that main menu is rough.
is
It's bad
It
across
is.
the board. Okay.
it's just one of the most unstable. Like, once again, it's a beta. But
Yeah.
Christ, like they've had at least since Battlefield 3 3 or 4 betas at this point. So it's like all the server structure's there. Like, at a certain point, like when I'm doing the thing where I can't like walk forward, like I walk 2 steps and I go back forward 2, and like I can't. And everybody's looking like the Flash, juddering around everywhere. It's like, okay, like, seriously, this was like 2 or 3 days in. Like, once again, first day, you're getting the kinks out, ironing out, totally fine. But at some point, I would like to play the game.
I played Wednesday night, I didn't have any lag issues.
It's
which
been
was
getting
nice.
better.
Yeah.
But for every like 1 or 2 good games, I have at least 1 or 2. Not like, it's like almost like on my Xbox there's like a bar of good game, and like once I'm out of that, I just go into the shit mode. But it's unstable as fuck. But that's what I have to say about that.
The one thing that I noticed, and maybe it was the alcohol, everything seems a bit slower.
It is
based on the time
very
period.
slower.
It's interesting though, so it does feel a little bit different. In that regard, I don't know if it's better necessarily. I was drunk, but
It took me. Like, when I first started playing it, like, that was like, besides from the fact that I like can't walk forward, it was outrageously slower.
yeah.
Which
so I liked that because it kind of reminded me of 1943 a bit.
It did,
and I
but
like 1943 a lot.
I think that was just because the tech is a little bit rougher. As
No,
such,
yeah,
the
that's
game
exactly
itself
why.
is all slower.
Guys, you're wrong. It's just historically accurate. People walk slower in the past.
People were slower then.
That's why, like World War II, like the original Call of Duties, there was no sprint. You just walked faster. Like, they
That's why
didn't.
the Blitzkrieg was revolutionary.
Yeah, they didn't.
the first time anyone ever went
They were like,
fast.
"What?
we can run.
What?"
No, you form lines and you walk.
Yeah.
All right.
But
That's true.
The one thing about this map that I did find interesting when we're on the historical part, that this is still like, it's not like a trench warfare map, which is what I was actually interested in because I don't know, World War One, like it is, it is like it's just a straight up fight in the desert, like ruins and then open plains and then like more like a village. So it's like a still about like I wanted to.
Like were there not actually trenches?
Yeah, I wanted to see. Well, I mean, the war, like the war was everywhere, but like when I like wanted to play the World War I segments, I feel like a lot of those weapons and the tactics they're asking you to do will work in a trench warfare situation.
I mean, they'll probably have levels like that.
They
even
will.
did in Battlefront.
But I really wish that was the one that they put out for the beta because it just makes
it's so much more World War I-esque.
Yeah, like.
Which I guess that's like the iconic stuff, but World War One was fought like in
everywhere.
Africa, like all these other places. It was actually, it was a world war. Like,
yeah.
So it was, but everybody remembers the trench warfare stuff.
Yeah.
Like France.
But the thing is, all the gear and the way that they're playing it is not that war. Like that's not what they designed it for. They designed it for like almost stationary movement, and then some very fast movement, and that's it. Like
I mean, I guess that kind of almost fits with like the gun. So one thing you haven't even touched on yet is, all right, so we're back to World War One. We've got a whole nother set of guns. Like, how does that change gameplay? Like from having saws and M16s. And
well, let me break
slower,
down like the classes.
Really.
So the assault class uses a submachine gun that is hilariously underpowered. I think I just like it took half to 3/4 of a mag to kill somebody. And they were like 10 to 15 feet away from me. Okay, sure, whatever. And then he uses anti-tank grenades, which are pretty effective against the tanks. The tanks are pretty cool because this time around, the driver has just like the coax machine gun, but the two side gunners, they have the cannons. So that's kind of neat that you're like in an actual tank crew. So that's cool. And if you're by yourself and there's like the other enemy tanks coming on, you have to like drastically switch back and forth. So I like to envision me just like scrambling up and down into this thing, just trying to not die. But the medic uses rifles, which I want to say that one is semi-automatic. The sniper, obviously, bolt action sniper. And then there is the machine gunner, which uses also a hilariously underpowered weapon. I put 12 rounds of that into somebody. I counted because I actually recorded it because I went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I counted the hit markers afterwards. Not only did he not die, but he got away. Like, why does this even exist? And then all the bolt action rifles are like next to one-hit kills.
Now, is it just the virtue of trying to balance those two things? Because I feel like modern weaponry, you kind of a much bigger spectrum where there's a lot of stuff like along the spectrum of power and rate of fire. But back then it was basically a bolt action that was like a high velocity rifle, or it was like a subsonic submachine gun that shot 1,000 rounds a second, but they were all like handgun rounds.
Well, that's a submachine gun shoots handgun rounds, period.
Yeah.
But yes and no, because that's the reason why I was afraid that this game wasn't going to work, is because of the fact that it's not the fact that, like, it's the modes that work, it's the fact that the tech of the time makes for shit gameplay.
Right.
Because you would have like a fixed position machine gun.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it takes a whole crew to move.
That's the reason why, like, and the fact that when this game popped up and finally playing it, and not only is it like on a map that's not suited for it, it just makes all of those issues just bubble up to the surface.
Horses.
What?
Horses.
Oh, okay. Let's discuss this real quick. So you get on a horse and it acts like there is like what amounts to Jeeps with 50 cals on the back, like your typical like 3-man Jeep where you just drive around and go nuts. But there's the horse, which is like the fast vehicle, and you get, I want to say, a pistol and a saber, and I've seen it in action. It actually looks cool, but once again, if I shoot a horse a couple times, that horse is not going to be continuing to move, especially if I shoot it with, I don't know, say a belt-fed machine gun. And multiple times I tag that thing, and it's still okay. So this is where you get to the whole like, oh, it's so cool. We're at World War One. Dudes are running around with horses. There's an armored train of doom driving around. But that's not fun, because if I shoot a horse, the horse is going to die.
Well, but that I think would actually not be fun. If it
Exactly.
worked-
Then we get to the problem of the fact that it's not the game itself.
Well, yeah,
that's an
but
issue.
I mean, I think that's they can still make it fun.
They can, but then it still boils down to I just emptied a magazine into that horse. The fuck.
Because it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing of just balancing the mechanics with what the player expects the mechanic to be, right? So the mechanics of the game are the horse is a vehicle. The vehicle has a certain amount of armor and health, so you don't immediately die the second you get in it, because it's making you a giant target. So
Right.
any vehicle in Battlefield has like a little bit of like health of its own, so you don't just get shot in the face the second you get in it. And because you just made yourself a huge target by raising yourself up 6 feet and riding around with this giant
And
animal.
you are completely exposed too.
And
Like
with
you
nothing
can shoot that
around you.
fucker off there, and
Yeah.
I have, and it's
It's
awesome.
it's easier to shoot the person than it is a horse. Even.
Not at all. It's
No?
actually much easier to shoot the horse, because I don't know the way exactly how Battlefield works, but with the exception of the completely exposed part, it's like in like in Halo, where if you shot a Warthog in Halo 1, it like covered, you had to go through the whole vehicle's armor first, and then it got to the player inside. It's the same thing, except for the parts that are like the legs and about here up. So if you're just like aiming at the biggest part of the target, which is going to be like the horse's torso, you actually will not be hitting the player at all.
No, that's
Yeah.
not what I meant. I meant shooting them in the face.
Oh, I mean, good luck. They move fucking fast.
Yeah.
Which is the trade-off. That's like,
I mean,
the closest thing that I can think of that the horse would be like the ATV
Yeah.
in like the current Battlefield. So
Yeah.
there's no weapon on it per se. There's really just for fast getting around, but it makes you a target. But you're moving quick, so you're harder to hit. So that was really like the ATV offered almost no armor or protection.
Right.
It was just
to
your
get
speed was
point A
You
to
couldn't
point
even
B.
shoot in that one. At least this one, you
Right.
can mildly defend yourself.
Speaking of shooting out of things, shooting out of planes is fun. I did
That
enjoy
is
that.
pretty. It reminds me of Bad Company 2's Vietnam expansion, where like anybody like with an assault rifle can shoot down a air vehicle, because they had tissue paper for armor. But it does feel like everybody can kill almost everybody unless you're in a tank. But even the tanks are like, if you have a couple, like I was the machine gunner, and you can drop an ammo pack for yourself, which gives you a grenade. So I was just lobbing grenades over a rock, ammo pack, grenade over a rock, ammo pack, and that repeat that ad nauseum. Even if that doesn't kill them, it'll just annoy the guy enough to get out and try to kill me, and then I shoot him and take his tank.
I like
strategy.
the idea of what you said, where they actually separated out like the gunner of like the powerful guns of the tank.
That is pretty cool.
Because that's one thing that I always really liked in Battlefield games, in other vehicles that weren't the tank, was that most of the time it was like there was a driver and then there was like a gunner, and like they kind of separated the two, which made you have to coordinate. It led to some really cool like team-based gameplay. Like I used to fly the helicopters all the time, and I'd fly the transport helicopter, which has two like belt-fed machine guns or miniguns, depending on which game you're playing on it. The pilot doesn't have any access to, but your passengers do. And so there was a ton of great moments where I'm just like flying the thing around. It's like, oh, there's somebody on our left or whatever. So like circle back, and you're trying to get it so that they have a good view of the people while still staying like up and whatnot. And you kind of have to coordinate at least some really cool stuff. The tank never had that. The tank was just like, I'm in it, I'm running shit. And if anybody jumped in as like the secondary, they got like a little machine gun and their head was sticking out and they always got killed. But the guy driving the tank was like impenetrable and like they had the main cannon and machine guns and like everything.
Yeah, plus your view is quite limited in the gunner seat too in this game, so
In
it kind of
every
balances
seat,
that out a
it's
bit.
like you look out like a ton. You can't hit right stick and like do the third person, but then obviously you're become way more inaccurate. But if you just want to look around, but no, that is a neat feature that I noticed that they added. But I mean, this will come with time, but people don't quite understand that's a thing yet, because they'll just do the thing where they'll just like drive up and keep themselves pointed straight because they think that they're the only ones with like the actual guns. And I'm like, dude, just turn slightly to the right.
Yeah,
that's going to come with time. That's not like
that's the infuriating part of the people who don't play like team style. Like when I was like sitting in a gunner seat in a helicopter and I'm not flying, and the guy who's flying is like he's like marking people in front of us, and he's keeping the helicopter pointed like straight forward. It's like, you realize this thing only turns this far to the turn the freaking helicopter to the right a little bit.
They're the people that just get in first and wait every single time for gunners to show up and just never gun themselves. And
Yep.
It's like, why aren't and then they're like, why aren't you shooting that guy? It's like, I can't see him turn the damn helicopter. But I'm gonna go over here now, and I'm
It's
gonna
all your fault.
and I'm gonna jump out.
I'm gonna jump out.
I'm gonna jump out mid-flight.
Helicopter's gonna
parachute
crash
down, leave
and-
it. Oh, I can't even count how many times I've had the pilot in my helicopter jump out, like while I'm in like the gunner seat.
So-
And you start just tumbling out of the air.
Yeah.
Some of the coolest stuff though is there when you save that.
Yeah.
When you like
Pull it
you
up.
start
Get
you-
in.
you-
Yeah.
So
you jump
Hit
into
the
the
A button,
pilot
A
seat.
button, A button, A button.
yeah, and
Jump in the
that's
pilot seat and gun the throttle and pull it out of like the spin
Yeah.
that it's in, and then fly away.
looks
It's
sweet.
Yeah.
That's actually a fun thing with the planes in this one, because the way they are mechanically, like if someone jumps out, the plane will obviously just tip and then nosedive. So like,
There's a brief pause.
yeah. So as a gunner, you actually have time to like get some extra shots, like looking straight down and then jump out. And I did that several times because my buddy just kept jumping out of the plane, and because he's like, yeah, we're gonna jump out here. I'm like, okay, but then I'll like hang on for an extra 10 seconds to be like pew pew pew, and then jump out. So that was fun, but
I really like those gun sound effects.
World War One, very different war.
yeah,
Much different.
yeah. Now it's like
Yeah.
before it used to be pew pew.
Yeah, it was black and white and pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Reality has changed a lot.
It's interesting that the actual like the vehicles are fun. Like I feel like they put a lot more time and effort on getting those right than the actual ground combat.
So you're basically saying like the automatic stuff feels bullet spongy, which is something I always hate. That's why
It feels like I'm playing the Division.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I could never seriously get into Halo was like
Yeah.
game, like everybody you shoot in that game just feels like they just take clip after clip after
Yeah.
clip, and then they get their shield back, and now it's back to square one, and I always can't stand that. So that's kind of frustrating. But the flip action, like how does like the bolt actions feel? How do the rifles feel?
It feels like the worst part of a all sniper game in the original Battlefields.
So they're so strong that everybody's using them. So you're basically running around, and then you just get.
You'd be
got.
stupid not to be at least like a medic or a sniper, just because you're not gonna kill shit otherwise, or at least if you do, it's not gonna be enough to like actually play the game. You might tag one dude out of like 18.
Does it end up working? Like, do people just pick those two overwhelmingly in
Yes.
games? So
Yeah.
it doesn't end up being a mix.
You'll see a couple of the assault guys.
But those are the guys that just haven't found out yet how bad it sucks.
Those are the guys that haven't found out yet, and also when there's 3 tanks coming down your throat, you kind of need to, because those are your anti-tank guys. Those are the guys who have all the extra grenades and everything. So at some point, like, you're forced to switch over.
So kind of like the engineer and previous stuff.
Yes.
They didn't have the best guns, but they had anti-vehicle.
It feels like they took the Bad Company assault class back, where they had the grenade launchers and all like the explosive stuff. But I mean, that stuff can get tweaked, especially since once again it's still beta, and every Battlefield beta has been, when it comes to like the numbers wise, very different from what eventually came out. It's just on this one, it is jarring how intense some of the like the gaps are.
Yeah, they really can't let it be a snipe fest, because the game has so much open space in it that if the sniper is like super powerful, then you're just gonna have a million people just sniping and not going, because the whole point of the game is you need people attacking the objectives and like using the vehicle. Like if it just turns into a long range snipe fest, it'll be boring for everybody and just frustrating for everybody.
There-
At least
Would it be like being in trenches far away from each other? Is it
See,
similar
that's
to that?
the thing. It would work. That game would be more fun.
at least so far, and I didn't spend too much time with Battlefield 4, and I didn't play Hardline or whatever, but
That's for the best.
yeah. Snipers were actually easier to see in this game, though, I thought, because they have like just a light pointing.
They had the
whenever they're
reflection on the
sniping
scope,
ever.
but that was
Yep.
in 4 and
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know if it was just this level in particular, since it's bright and stuff, but honestly,
yeah,
like
it
I
does
did
look
not
like the
have trouble
goddamn
seeing
North
them.
Star. Like,
Yeah.
like the reflection.
Yeah,
off
it's
of
like
that
it's
thing.
pretty bright. So
But
I didn't feel too bad about snipers so far, at least.
Like, I mean, yeah, like you can see them, but even if like that's hoping that that's enough time for you to react from that.
Yeah.
Because all they have to do at that point, and like, the bullet drop is negligible in this one. Like if you just pop it down to like 150 meters, like because you can change your distance, and if you hit 150, you can pretty much tag goddamn near anything, like within a reasonable distance.
So you're gonna buy it?
Not if it stays the same.
Yeah.
as it is
No.
now.
No, like, and I love Battlefield, but this one just made me angry.
I think you're being too hard on it, though.
I feel like somebody needs to,
Yeah,
because
'cause there's a real shortage of that.
Dear
on the internet.
Electronic Arts,
oh yeah, I am angry.
This game has
horses are dumb. That's not what horses are like.
You tried hard on it.
I went in my backyard and I shot a horse with a 45 3 times and it fell down.
Oh my god.
Here's the YouTube video.
That was a really great voice there.
It also got dark real quick.
Yeah, that was
it
like
did.
0 to 100, like no time.
Hey, PETA,
But I heard
how
that
are
most of
you?
our subscribers are actually EA devs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All of them, right?
Yeah.
They're sitting
hear
there
that?
listening to this like, fuck, this guy
Fuck
didn't
you,
like
EA.
it.
Dice. More like poop.
Good joke there, bud.
All
That's
right, so
mine.
I
That's
think,
original.
I think we've reamed the beta enough.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how they balance it going forward.
It has-
because now that
yeah.
they have all these people playing it, like the numbers are obviously going to change. Like that always happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once
Yeah.
again, it is still a beta.
Overall, just at least so far, I just haven't enjoyed Battlefield as much as I did since Bad Company 2. Like,
Well, I mean, come on, that company 2 was like pure gold. And
yeah,
on
and
a disc.
you know, and maybe a big factor of that is that like during that time, just 8 other of my friends owned it on Xbox, and
That's
that was
100%.
fun as hell.
That's 100% the thing.
That helps.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, like even just playing that with less people was still way more fun than I've had with 3, 4, and
3
even Battlefront as well.
3
like,
I played the shit out of, and I loved it. 4 was like the same thing, just like bigger, which I guess is like the point of a sequel. But it's like they didn't like really add that much to it.
Yeah.
They just kind of like, here's more 3.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I love 3, so
I don't know. I just kind of feel the same again. Like it's the same game that I've played since then. It really hasn't changed.
I
and-
appreciate. Oh,
When was the last one that came out?
4 came out actually no, excuse me.
It was
Hardline came out, but it wasn't made by DICE. It was made by Visceral Studios, the guys who make Dead Space.
Yeah, that's
So-
like Cops and Robbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an offshoot. It was actually very much a bad company where it wasn't like a numbered one, but it still came out. The last DICE one was 4, and that came out at launch of the 360 or the 1 and the
Yeah,
PS4.
it came out at the worst possible time.
Mm.
Yeah.
You had the console switch, and so the reason I never played 4 is because I never knew which one to buy. Because I had half my friends had new consoles and half
I
didn't.
got yeah.
And
PC,
by the time
bro.
That got
Yep,
sorted
PC.
out-
Yep.
Yep.
By the time, well, and none of them had PCs that could play 4 because 4 required good.
4 looked gorgeous.
You guys all have a lot more friends than I do.
Same.
Clark.
Wait, you guys play?
friends.
You play with people you know? What? You know, they just they need to go back to the drawing board on a lot of like the ground combat stuff. I mean, they got time. They got till October. So
That's not really that much time.
But the
not.
thing is, like, all like everything's there. It's just getting the numbers proper,
Yeah.
and they still got 3 more days out of the beta.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and the beta is already like stability-wise is infinitely better than what it was when it started because I can actually play it now.
Hmm.
But so I mean they're obviously there, and it's Christ at this point it's their 3rd large beta. So like they have at this point it down to relative science. I'm hoping,
You
man.
always think that. But
Yeah.
then you never know how many people are signing in or
I'm
what new
hoping.
server architecture they're using or something.
Yeah.
They're trying something different.
Maybe I just don't like video games anymore.
Nah, that's not.
That is definitely
Based
not
on a sample size of
Wrong.
one game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't like it when.
I don't know. I just
when
played it.
they
I was
don't
like,
work.
all right.
Yeah.
No, it worked for me. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, you also,
I didn't really
you
have
also played it by
problems.
yourself and drunk, so.
Well, I played it with my buddy too, but
But still drunk.
I was drunk. Yeah.
Play it sober, we may have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
last thing I have to say, like, well, so I did play it with a buddy, and I was trying to machine gun because it was an open area. So I'm like, if nothing fucking else, I can at least suppress them, because the suppressive fire makes the screen look all blurry and wonky, and you can't aim right. So it still works. And he was trying to, like, I think he was a medic or something. So like we were just trying to like put it down, but the fact of the matter is, like, I just couldn't do anything for him. Like, I was just pissing in the wind, literally. Like, I just firing away. And just...
Literally?
Literally. I was actually peeing in my pants.
Yeah. There's no bathrooms in that level, so...
They won't die! They're everywhere!
Actually, I do have one more thing to say about this.
Yeah.
It's a weird choice, and correct me if I'm wrong, but normally your special items are on your weapon wheel, right? Like, if you were to scroll through your weapons, usually isn't, like, say you're a medic, when like the paddles come up on previous games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's really obnoxious.
Now it's just
You
like...
have to hit like.
You have to hit 3
on
or 4, yeah, to get your grenade or to get your special item.
That's really annoying.
It
It's
feels like
super annoying.
everything in that game is trying to make it slower, because since it's all semi-automatic or bolt-action rifles, if everybody's sprinting around as smoothly as they were before, you're not going to hit anything. So, like, they had to slow it down just because of the fact that everything else also moves slower.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Like, even
it's
like
just
the
a weird
the
choice
bullet
to me.
velocity on everything is just slower.
And it's historical fact.
Yeah, bullets actually move slower.
At least they got that fact right. Unlike
yeah.
horses,
Yeah.
you know,
Fucking
No, historical
horses.
fact, back in World War One, horses could
They were
take
stronger.
machine gun rounds.
They were made of
these people couldn't
titanium.
run, and horses were stronger.
There's so much. They're so weak now.
To say something cool about it, so I'm not harping on it the whole time, the bayonet charge is kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the scream
the guy
he
just starts
makes
screaming.
is amazing.
And just runs.
Because the best part is it makes, like, so you're sprinting and then you have to hit the melee button, and you basically
Your guy
get,
actually, like, he runs faster. It's
which, so I
interesting.
use it to get around.
Yeah, yeah.
So when
So you,
there's
just hear, you hear everyone screaming
Yeah.
all the time.
There'll be
That is
nobody around, dead
beautiful.
silence, and then just sprinting. And
That part
every-
is pretty great.
And every gun has a freaking bayonet on it, apparently, even the submachine guns. So that just makes me sprinting around. I've used it realistically twice, successfully once.
Yeah.
And he was just lying on the ground, and like I stabbed him. So like that was like, there's little tidbits of cool
Yeah.
in there. Like, the vehicles are awesome, and the fact that I can scream in the middle of a desert by myself.
Vehicle stands horse.
Yeah, it's like there's like
Gonna run out of
bits
horse
there. I
bayonet.
want it to be cool just because they're trying something different. So I mean, God damn it, they're trying. It feels like, at least it's just not all there.
Did you guys ever play Serious Sam?
Yes.
No.
Do you remember
Yeah, the bomb guys?
The bomb guys. They have these bomb guys that run at you with bombs over their heads.
They have no heads.
Yeah, no, they have their heads are something
The
like
heads
that.
were the
yeah.
bombs?
Yeah, like whatever. They have no heads and they're running with bombs. That's
Serious
not the
Sam,
part that
nothing
matters.
makes
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they yell
say
the whole
nothing is
time they're
serious?
running
It's
at you.
that type
but,
of yell, too.
But the thing is that the first time you ever see them, they're way off in the distance. So you're just like standing in this room at the beginning of the level, and you just hear like, and you're just like, what the fuck, you know, whatever. And then you just keep going, and it gets louder and louder, and then all of a sudden there's just guys with bombs running at you. But that build is the best.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. It
It
reminds
is
me
like
of.
this blood. Like, I mean, obviously, like, they're imagining you're using this to, like, jump into a trench and just stab people. So it's like this warrior's cry.
Yeah.
And yet, like, I'm using it
You're
just
just
to
using
get
it to get around, yeah, to
Um,
run your errands.
Yeah, pretty much. Just so
It's like
just
having
like,
a designated yell button.
like, oh,
Yeah.
better
always-
go
I'm
get
always
some
okay with
ammo.
That's the
Like-
problem with any mechanic
That's
that
beautiful.
allows you to like get extra speed for a second, because people just abuse it. Like,
Yeah.
all over the
Yeah.
place. Like,
Yeah. True.
like the Zelda. Like
Oh, the roll?
rolling.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Ugh.
like there's no reason to do that in the context of the game, but you're like minutes, like microscopically
Yeah.
faster. So why not break the whole look of the game
Yep.
or whatever?
Mhm. It was pretty. There's moments of cool. Like, I was just like fighting around, and off like a dude just like body fell off. Like, I watched him get shot, and he fell in front of me, and I was just like, like covered in blood. Like there's bits of like
and setting people on fire. It's
oh
pretty
my
great.
God, it was horrifying.
It is horrific.
Like some dude
Horrifically
like, threw,
awesome.
I guess there's a Molotov or something like in a building, and like a guy came out like fully engulfed in flame.
And they run around screaming.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my God.
it's like any like like in a fucking movie, like when
Yeah.
you see
Like-
someone on fire, just
and
flipping out.
You can like open doors in this, like and close them. So like,
that actually,
it is pretty
that is a
neat.
welcome change. I was so excited.
Yeah.
I was opening and closing a window for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I can do this now.
I just wish it wasn't like a hole, like you just hit it because
Yeah.
you're sitting there and like you have to get it right. But if you're like, it's cool, like if you're sprinting into a door, you'll just like shoulder it open and like,
Yeah.
so like that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But just like that happened where that dude just like slammed the door open and he was just on fire. There was fire everywhere. Like everybody has a gas mask because there's gas
Yes,
grenades, although
yeah.
nobody fucking uses them.
Right.
But like so there was gas too, and I have my gas mask on. I'm just like, like there's moments of like, man, horrifying but cool.
Yeah.
It's like I just want them to be able to like it's there. Just please, for the love of God.
They're close.
It's
you know?
just, but it's
Sounds like they could pull it off, just a little balance and a
they
couple
need
patches.
to
Yeah.
they need to like really knuckle down on it. Like it's
I
I
need
think
to go shoot a bunch more horses.
yeah they need to get more.
You understand
The horse
physics.
research is horrible. But like I think like every time like. I can't remember what it is, but how often a game is like on point versus like the mechanics not working. When it's on point, it's cool. You watch people on fire, like
Great.
It's like everything's there.
Yeah.
That's like
But-
when the game is working for you.
that-
you could ever want. Just watching people burn and scream.
I think that's why I've always preferred Battlefield, is because it really is good at creating those moments. It
Yeah,
always
the
has
Battlefield
been.
moments.
Well,
yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
the number one curse of the series because they have those moments, but they also have the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Whereas like Call of Duty is much more down the middle.
Yeah.
Like
Call of Duty
there's-
is like spreadsheet style.
Yeah,
it's like,
there's-
here's
there's-
what is good.
Yeah, there's
It's
highs
like,
and
okay.
lows in Call of Duty, but they're like an inch apart.
Mm-hmm.
And there's highs and lows in Battlefield, and they're like a mile apart. So a bad game of Battlefield is basically an unplayable piece of shit.
Ironically, it's when people play it like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right. But a good game of Battlefield is like the best like
Oh, it's-
shooter.
oh,
team-based
fucking incredible.
experience you can
Yeah.
actually
Once
have
again,
at any console.
I've probably played about 14, 15 games total now. 2 or 3 of them were on point, but man, they were so cool.
Yeah.
Like when everything
It makes
was
it worth it. Like,
like when everything magically works, and I pick the medic class, so I have a rifle, and like or a sniper if nothing else, and like everything's on point. Oh, it was there when I was actually able to kill things, but then like if
like, and set them on fire and kill them,
Yeah.
kill horses and kill this.
When I was winning, it was awesome.
Yeah.
well like no the best like I lost 2 of those games. Just because you're getting like your backbeat, but like at least like I had fun playing it. Yeah, it's I want it to be good just because A, Battlefield, and B, like there's little glimmers of hope. They just really got.
I believe in it. I think it'll be your favorite. I think it'll be the best game you ever played when it comes out.
Well, no Division. Let's come on. Oh.
All right, so I think we wrung that out pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
I can talk more. That's
I
okay.
know.
Yeah. We know.
Jump out for a bit. Well, let's do like a quick palate cleanser for something completely different. You dug out Antichamber the other day.
Yes.
and
Return to that.
That's a game that I loved from like 6 years ago.
Yeah, I played a bit of that too.
So
Yeah.
Excuse me as I Google this game.
Go right ahead. I was honestly just like waiting for our for something to start. I don't remember, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go play a game, and then I was like, oh, I still have Antichamber installed. I want to like go back and play that.
Because it's under the letter A, so you go to your list, you're like, oh,
Oh.
Antichamber.
Yep.
I also have that installed. It's very high on my to play list for 4 years now. But
You should
Also
actually go
known
play
as
it.
Steam
I really
Lib-
want to,
very much
actually.
worth a play.
Yeah,
Also
there
known
have been
as-
many
yeah.
times I've looked at it, I'm like, I should start Antichamber today. And
I've been
I
like
have
that
not
with
yet.
Beginner's Guide.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna bully both of you into playing both those games. Yeah, I jumped back into it. Didn't remember what I was doing because you jump in. There's like that little like arrow map on the wall that shows where you've been already, and like I was like, oh, I haven't played this in ages. I don't remember what I was doing, so I just jumped back in where it said that I last was, and I like solved a bunch of puzzles like right off the bat, and I was like, oh, sweet, like I feel smart now. I'm gonna keep going.
That game does a really great job of that, where it's like I haven't played The Witness, but I got this impression of like it does a lot of this. Where Antichamber, if you're unfamiliar, the whole game is predicated on the idea of like non-Euclidean space. So like the game changes around you based on what you're doing or where you're looking or like what's happening.
I
Like,
had
if
a
you walk
moment
backwards down one hallway, you go into a different room than if you
Oh.
walk down it
Forwards, yeah.
That's
Interesting.
gory.
Or if you like,
Wait,
or if,
there's-
like, you like run up a staircase and you're like, oh, I want to go back to where I just was, and you turn around and run back. Like now it's a different room.
Yeah, that actually, when I was playing the other day, I was like in this one area, and I was like, I want to see what's around this corner. I was literally, as I was walking away, I was like kept turning around, like don't disappear, don't disappear, don't disappear. And I got around the corner and like came back. It was still there. I was like, okay, I think I'm good. And I like went and did something and came back. It was a completely different space. I was like, God damn it!
I love games that do that smoothly. Like you
Yeah.
look away and you come back and it's
It's amazing.
Well, there's like
Uh.
really cool kind of puzzles and like ways that it plays with that. Like
Yeah.
like where you find a room and you look through a window. And you can see this other room in there, and it's one thing, but
Yeah.
you get really like way up close and make it so that the window takes your full field of view up. Now
when
you're
you
in the room.
yeah, when you
Ah.
look
So,
away
like-
from the window,
and
you're
now-
suddenly in
and
that
you
room.
go
I
back-
love
yeah,
those.
step
Cool.
backing away from the window. Now you're in
Yeah.
the room that you were
Yeah.
looking at, and it's like
Oh.
it's really it's a very
It's
the game is
very
like
cool.
It makes me
re-
nauseous.
I want to try this.
It really
now.
does.
It's really, and there's like a spot where if there's like an open pit below you, and if you like jump into it, you fall to the bottom. But if you walk across, like floor appears underneath your feet, and you can just walk straight
Yeah.
across.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really
actually,
fun.
It sounds
that
like a
one's like
psychedelic trip. Going,
It's pretty amazing.
if you look down, like you'll fall, but you it's like the whole thing is like trying to get you to do like the leap of faith, where you have
Yeah.
to like you have to not look down.
So
and
we're like
Yeah.
last Crusade
like, walking
style,
straight.
or
Oh, totally, 100%. And
do we have a thing of rocks we can throw on it afterwards?
it does stuff like that over and
Yeah.
over again, which it sounds like it would be like really frustrating, but it's actually really interesting. 'cause
Yeah,
it's-
I love
it
like
does a great job of like of making you experiment and then rewarding you for your experimentation.
Yeah.
Like it very rarely
Yeah.
like really pissed me off. Like, it happened a couple of times, but very rarely that it really like upset me or anything. It was just like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh so wait, what happens here? And then it makes you. It changes the way you think about your view space.
So the game has a really good on that point. It has a really good GDC talk where it's called Antichamber, an overnight success, 7 years in the making.
Yeah,
So
there's a guy Alexander Bruce.
That's a
I think
long
his
night.
name is. I forget it.
I forget the
sounds-
name.
It sounds about
Sounds
right.
about
I
right.
think he was an Australian developer. He made it by
Yeah, I think
himself
so.
over the course of like 7 years.
Right, but he did an insane amount of like iterative play testing like that, and it shows. Yes.
All of it.
If you the game, the
whole
look of the
time.
game, it's a
the look
pretty
of the
looking
game is like LSD. It's
Yeah,
because everything is mostly white except for like a couple of things which are like very vibrant.
Is that what
colors.
it looked like when you took LSD?
Yeah, everything was white.
Don't tell my mom, please.
Mom's listening.
She's the one listener.
She's the commenter.
Yeah.
Probably.
Get high, bro. 42069.
immediately. YouTube.
Actually,
comment.
Kendall's mother.
Thanks, mom. I love you. Even if you.
So Kendall's mom, the trick with horses is they die.
Yeah.
in one bullet.
Make sure you aim at the rider. Just don't try the horse.
Dear
It's just
Kendall's
not gonna
mom,
happen.
Battlefield 1 is inaccurate.
It makes me feel like a piece of shit.
You guys.
All right, so Antichamber.
Antichamber.
What are we
It
talking
does
about
have a
again?
pretty cool look, and yeah, the guy iterated on it forever, just like trying to get the right balance of like making it interesting to interact with stuff, but not completely off the rails. Like you'd never figure it out. Like, and yeah, I really liked that about it because like when you mentioned when you solved a couple of puzzles and you're like, oh, I'm smart. Like,
Yeah.
that game does a real good job of like
Rewarding you.
making you feel like the puzzle is like, damn, like how the hell do you do this? And then you just like poke at it a little bit, and it's like, oh, I see it, and you solve it, and you're like, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
And then like
That's
again, it's
exactly
like,
what
oh,
it
what the
is.
hell is
The-
this?
The
I'll
basic
I'll never be able to
loop.
figure. Oh, I see it.
The
And then,
basic
I'm
loop
great.
of any good puzzle game, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Portal did that beautifully.
Yep.
Everything. Unlike Uncharted, where you look at it and it's like A equals B equals C, and it's like,
Oh, I pressed this button. We're good.
we
Yeah.
solved the ancient puzzle of the gods.
No one could figure this
There's a
out.
big complaint on the new Tomb Raiders, where it was like there's puzzles in the game, and I guess initially the first version of the game had like pretty legit puzzles in it,
Oh, yeah.
and they
Yo, this
yanked,
one
and they
there.
yanked them.
I actually-
they yanked them and replaced them because playtesters couldn't
Oh,
figure them out.
fuck
and then
them.
they quit. They're like,
sucks.
we put this in front of like normal people, and they said the puzzles were too hard, so they quit. So they made them optional, and people are still like, this game then it makes them like it made me feel dumb, so I stopped playing. So
Well,
it's
get
like,
smarter,
But
idiot.
that just
Try
But
harder.
that also reinforces that point of like it's got to be that nice balance.
Yeah, that's
of
true.
like easy but difficult. And I mean, I actually just finished the Rise of the Tomb Raider, and those puzzles were laughably easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
it was-
apparently they had
Literally
designed good
just said
ones.
that.
I'll call them good
Yeah,
ones.
I'm reinforcing his goddamn point. Horses.
Well, so I think the trick is
Would you say you're riding the point into the
if
ground?
Your players are doing bad at it. You just
Shut up.
graduate them through. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're obviously not smart enough to solve this, so we're just gonna advance the story.
You're
arc.
obviously
Yeah.
you're
Press
obviously
A to let the game do it for you.
too much of an idiot to do this.
I wish a game would just actually say that. Like, leave in the hard puzzle, and just be like, you can skip this, but you have to press this button to admit you're a
It's
fool.
like, why don't you just tell me what movie you'd like
Metal
to see?
Metal Gear Solid 5 had something similar. It was if you were getting bogged down into a part, you can have an option in the menu, and when you first start the game, you should turn it on. And basically, what it did is it made it all the enemies. If you like die 3 or 4 times, depending on the difficulty, you can turn it on where all the enemies they're harder to see you. They're harder to kill. You have more health and everything. But Snake had to wear a chicken hat the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And it was literally just Venom Snake running around with a fucking chicken hat.
Shame.
So it was just a cone of shame.
Really funny.
Like, yeah, you could get through it, but you're gonna be wearing the chicken
That's good.
hat.
That's like the Nintendo approach as of the last like 7 or 8
That's
years.
what I was gonna bring up.
But then also with shame involved.
Chicken hat,
I was playing
Created
some.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was playing like I don't remember what phone game it was, but like I jostled my phone at one point, like I shook my phone, and it popped up and it was like, "Oh, you're getting angry. It's okay. You could take a break for a while." And I was like, "Are you cool? This is the
You don't
best
tell
thing
me
I've-"
what to do.
No, I thought it was hilarious. I wasn't actually mad.
That's
I
pretty
just like
good.
dropped my phone. I was like, "This is the
like-
funniest thing I've ever
Like,
seen."
I'm not even mad.
Did you actually shake it because you were angry?
No, I think I just dropped it. Like I never got
Oh.
mad at the game, but I was just like, "This is great."
That's
As
pretty
I
funny.
dug it out of the wall.
Yeah.
I
It
do
was-
like a game that's self-aware.
It was
Yeah.
Pokemon Go. That was.
That game's
Got
hard.
an Onyx last night.
I got one the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Air
I
5.
Air 5.
freaking don't get me started.
When you
Gonna
were
get
talking
mad.
about the like Nintendo approach, I remember when it came out with like that Mario Brothers where you could just go in the bubble, so you don't like stop the cooperative team. Like,
Yep.
like your little brother can't make it through the platforming section, so you're like, oh, just bubble.
Yeah.
dude.
To be fair,
We'll
to
play
be
the
fair,
other
they
side.
kind of still had that. It was just Yoshi, and you just swallowed them and held them for the whole time,
Yeah, that's true.
and then
Yep.
jump off the world and kill both of you.
That or the trolling on the Wii U one. You could just place platforms above people where they're gonna jump above.
Oh yes.
Makes
Like
for
bye.
Oh,
makes
yes.
for hilarious videos
Oh,
and
it's so
watching,
good.
infuriating
Yeah.
if you're playing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like people die.
Oh
over
man.
Makes for no more friends.
Speaking of infuriating, and this is just totally off topic, but on topic of that game, fucking collision in that game was so obnoxious.
that. Oh, you bounce off each other.
Yep.
Ugh.
Oh, that ruined that game's multiplayer.
Once again, watching it is great. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's. You don't want to play it, but
Yeah.
you love watching people watch it or play
Five
it.
Nights
Yeah.
at Freddy's doesn't scare me at all. It's kind of just nah.
The first one was actually interesting, and then the 16 that came after
Yeah, they overdid that a
within
lot.
7 months of each other.
I'm waiting for
Jesus.
Five Nights at Freddy's Monopoly.
I'm
Yeah,
waiting
it's
for the
coming.
movie.
I'm sure it exists.
The movie's coming. Dude, we were.
Wait, there's a-
Yeah, there's a movie coming out.
Can I kill myself?
Oh,
Then?
fuck.
All right.
All right,
So
anyway.
back to Antichamber.
Yeah.
Refocus.
Yeah. So did you finish it yet, or you still like
No. Okay, so on the other wall, opposite the map in that like start area or whatever menu area, they have all the like hints that you get with the little drawing and then the words.
Yep.
And so like I have most of those. I think I'm missing like I don't know. 10% of them, not money. So I think I'm getting close.
Yeah, it's not
But,
a
yeah.
particularly long game.
Yeah.
It's,
I
How long
did
about?
I
a
discovered
few
like
hours, like if you like just plow.
yeah, if you plow
Nice.
through it. I discovered this one area like when I popped back to that main part when I was gonna go quit. I realized like I looked at my map and I have this like one thing that I found, but it has like nothing leading to it. It's just like a standalone little area, and I was like, how did I even get there? I was like,
Well, it does that
So-
weird stuff because it kind of hops you around. Like, the
Yeah.
map doesn't really translate one-to-one to something on the
right,
wall
no,
because
like,
it
because you can't map it out because
changes.
yeah, exactly. So it like, it had just nothing connecting to it, and I was like, well, I had to have gotten there somehow. So, but yeah, I think I'm getting a lot closer than I was. I don't. How many of those little like they're not really portal gun things, but like the whatever it is that
Where
you
you
hold.
get add-on weapons. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
How many of those do you get?
weapons
Because I've
or-
gotten like 3, I think.
There might be 4. Have you gotten where you can like suck in like infinite amounts of like because there's like fuel you have to like pull into it and then use it. At a certain point, you can kind of like make your own.
Yeah, you like draw a box and it just like
You can
fills
draw a box
it
and
in.
it fills in.
Yeah, I got that, and then the one that I got most recently was the one where like you hold down the middle mouse button and you can like drag it to a
like,
certain
do,
place,
like,
and it
the-
like
The
moves.
switches
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah,
and maybe
so
maybe
you're-
that's the last one. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you're getting close.
Yeah, it's exciting.
But of
Very
course, that
exciting.
game came out like 5 years ago.
A lot of years ago.
I think it's 2012, 2013.
It's actually more recent than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years ago. That's
Yeah.
surprising.
I think so.
But-
Are you looking it up, Pat?
2013.
Yep.
I was actually looking
3
up on
years
how
ago.
long to beat. It's
Yeah.
about 5.5 hours.
Well,
Oh, it's just the internet, Futch. So what are you? Were you better than Google? Is that what we're saying?
Oh, somebody updated this 4
What are we
hours
saying?
ago.
Is that what we're saying? Sorry.
all right.
Okay.
Love you.
And on that note,
So beyond, so I guess check it out. It's a really cool game. It's old. You can usually get it for almost free at this point.
This sound-
And I'm
sounds
serious.
really
I will
cool.
bully you into playing it.
I actually
so
love games that are
played a little.
trippy like that, so
Yeah.
I actually might.
It's a really cool experience.
it's
and I
honestly
really
awesome.
yeah, there's a lot of things I like about it.
That sounds cool.
And again, it's not super long either, so it's worth. It's totally
Yeah,
worth.
5.5 hours. I can
So-
do that.
All right. So what else? What else do you want to get into this week?
We're all
Clark-
getting
I think Clark has
distracted.
something for the peanut gallery.
So we were going around before the podcast, and the question was like, "What was the last game you played?" And I just totally stuttered. And then moments ago, when we started talking about Nintendo, I played Yoshi's Woolly World in Target until it kicked me off the machine.
All right then.
So you were that kid.
I was
Target
Ah.
gaming.
31-year-old guy sitting in the game session, and I'm playing.
A guy that could completely afford the console and the
now,
game.
Now the question is, how long did it? How long?
I think
did
it
you
was.
get to
I think it
play?
was probably between like 15 and 25 minutes.
That's actually
That's
pretty
not
decent.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
If you're
It was-
like
it was
like
long enough where,
45 minutes in, yeah.
It was like, thanks for playing. And I was like, no.
You're welcome.
Did it
Now
just,
let me
like,
keep playing.
abruptly
Did you-
stop?
Did you promptly go buy it?
From this kind
Yeah.
out of here.
yeah, that's too much
Yeah,
work.
fuck this.
But I.
So you spent-
two things that I loved about it. The textural
Oh,
like
it's
feel of the
beautiful.
space, like, and the way they took the the design concept of yarn and wool and all of that and made it like entered it into the gameplay.
So how does it work? So you're
So you're Yoshi,
yeah.
but you're a cute little
Ah.
yarn Yoshi.
All right.
Yeah, buddy.
And all of the baddies are also made out of yarn,
So
and you
everything's
can
yarn.
eat them, obviously.
Would you say the story is a good yarn?
Oh.
I think they actually make that joke in the game.
Of course
Oh,
they
really?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been at least after the 15-minute mark because
Yeah. So
I didn't see it, but I'm
what
sure.
what world did they throw you in on the demo? Right at the beginning of the game.
Wait. I gotta hear how this game works though.
so
It's Yoshi.
so you poop out.
Yeah, you poop
but,
out the
but
yarn.
they're nicely rounded yarn balls that come in multiple sizes depending on how much yarn you just consumed.
Wait, no,
You can
that's
have, like,
real. You poop yarn out.
Yeah, so like
Oh.
you destroy the game world or the
Oh.
characters, in common Yoshi fashion by eating
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and then you excrete yarn balls
All right.
that are like oh, I'm gonna go crochet something now. Like
Are they
all-
brown?
That's
perfect
kind of
spherical.
dark.
No.
No, they're colorful.
Are they brown?
Oh, brown. No, they're whatever. They're like random colors based on what you ate.
Well, that's good.
But
Sorry, yeah,
they-
go- and
there's
then-
No,
there's
you're
play
fine.
mechanics where you can like squish against the yarn and it moves.
Yeah.
As well as like unraveling it, like like the Weezer song. So
That's
Good connection.
those
Thank you.
those parts were it was a lot of fun. I got into it, and I don't really like platformers in general.
yeah,
and-
me neither. But
But
apparently
I was
this
immersed.
this game is at our apartment, Ryan.
Yep.
So
I played a little bit of it.
I guess I'll give it a shot.
I played 8 or 10 levels of it. I think. I got
Yeah,
to
where
like
did-
the second or third
6
world.
years
To
ago.
earlier Ryan's question that I cut him off on, where did it start you?
I have no idea. Maybe at the beginning.
The game.
It started me at the game.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. That's a
but-
good place to start.
But I mean, I have to imagine it's the beginning because you evolve through the game mechanics and the play style.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
so
probably just the beginning. That would make
But
sense.
it wasn't, it was good. They didn't do it as a tutorial. You could just find stuff.
Yeah.
which was-
Oh, good.
in good Nintendo fashion.
Yeah.
Generally.
Right.
I think the other highlights beyond like me pushing away little kids who also wanted to play.
Kicking them down.
Always a highlight.
Fuck you, kid. This is my game.
Yoshi! No!
was that
You
it's
can
going to
watch.
generate like entire Etsy stores full of yarn Yoshi.
I have a yarn
accessories.
Yoshi at home because I bought the special edition. So
Fucking
I
nerd.
can tell you there
Yeah.
is a amiibo yarn Yoshi,
Oh,
and
That's
it
what I
looks
have.
horrifying.
oh, it's
Like,
adorable.
It looks.
They have a big one too.
So,
I want the big one.
It looks
Christmas
so
is coming, Pat.
terrible. Oh yay!
So
No,
as the like casual gamer at the table,
Get out.
two thumbs up for yarn Yoshi.
Yeah,
Swole.
no, it's the game's fucking adorable and it's well designed from what I played so far. So I didn't spend too much time with it. I bought it for my
Right.
ex for her birthday, and she left it at my house, so it works out.
Nice. So you
Mine
bought
now.
it for yourself.
yes,
I knew
basically.
nothing of this game, and now there's a Wii U sitting right out behind us. We're gonna have
Yeah.
to try this out.
Oh, it's
See
great.
what's up.
Yeah,
I highly recommend just going to Target and playing.
Kicking little kids out
free.
the way.
No,
That's like half the game.
no, I've
Side
actually.
note, I was totally that kid.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
Totally
I-
that kid.
Oh yeah, me too.
Blockbuster Video, when Nintendo 64 came out, they did a campaign where they sent out Nintendo 64s with Mario 64 like way in advance of being able to actually buy the thing. And so like months before it was available for purchase, there was a Nintendo 64 with a Mario 64 sitting in my local Blockbuster. And I would get my mom to drive me down and drop me off, and I would just stand there. And there was no 15-minute cutoff back then. I was just the kid that just posted up, and just like I was just there.
John actually set
That's
the first
awesome.
speed run records.
Already had 120 stars before it came out.
Nice. I would be the kid. It'd be like Toys R Us and sometimes Unreliable on their stations and stuff. I would be the kid that would just be like, I don't have this console. I'm going to go hold the controller for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just feel it out. Like they had a Dreamcast set up like before I came out, and I was like, this controller is amazing.
So to that point, that was part of what was driving my fascination because, as you might recall, like 64 was the first analog stick. I mean, it wasn't the first ever in existence, but it was the first like console like this is going mainstream.
Yeah, like
I could-
thumbstick
look,
and
dude,
stuff
I
too.
could make
but-
them like tiptoe and then like
Yeah.
walk and like
Ooh.
run and like full 360. I can move the camera.
Man, you
around.
want to
See the shit?
you want to have a Mario 64 podcast? Because I am there. Because I will talk about that game all day.
Yeah, it's too good.
But I'm not
I mean,
going to right now.
Yeah, it's. We're not gonna go down that route. I think that
He's
everything
barely
is-
holding
Come
back
to the
right
next
now.
podcast.
I love Mario 64.
Who
So
didn't?
good.
I think it's pretty widely
Yeah.
accepted as a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
Even I
Still-
don't like Nintendo. Even I love that.
Probably still my favorite Mario game.
Yeah.
3D World came close though. That game's really fucking good. But
Super Mario Sunshine.
fuck off. Underrated though. in
Underrated.
fairness. Underrated
It
for
was,
sure.
Yeah.
That game was so Japanese.
Oh.
Just
Oh yeah, it is.
It was
Oh
also so
Sentai, yes.
different from like so many, like all the other Mario's.
like,
It
"Oh,
was so
senpai,
different.
yes."
Like
Obviously.
Well, I
It
think
was.
to me that was
Ridiculous.
when Nintendo started forcing their traditional IP into new game designs. So I think maybe
well,
they were.
Mario
Mario 2 had happened, so it's like that's
Well,
been going on.
I think that was a
forever.
different circumstance, so I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
no, they got like they okay, sure they did it then, but now they're firmly in an era of doing that.
I thought
completely.
Mario 2 was Mario 2 because they built Mario 2. It was too hard, and
Yeah.
so they just reskinned some other game that was already
Doki
in
Doki
existence.
Panic.
Right. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
and
It's a
Mario
totally
2 is
different
still
game.
too hard.
Totally different game. Totally different
Fuck
game.
that
Totally
game.
different mechanics, and they just
Here's
they
the group.
reskinned it with Nintendo IP.
Yeah.
What's the name of the egg spitting guy who later seemed
Birdo?
to have become Yoshi?
Birdo?
Birdo? Are
Yeah.
we related? Is it?
Oh God.
What is the name? Is Birdo?
There's a lot of
Just explode.
there's a lot of talk about the gender of Birdo and just generally what the fuck Birdo is and such. And that's a rabbit hole.
That's the
my
first
friend.
question.
Is that on your Tumblr? Because that sounds like a Tumblr
Yeah,
conversation.
it's on my Tumblr.
Don't go on Tumblr ever for any reason. No, but Birdo's a guy, right? That's like
Yeah,
even though
all
we're
right.
like,
Let's not
even
rumors-
start,
all right,
like,
sorry,
asshole.
sorry,
Yeah.
Don't
sorry.
do it.
like
Yes.
Birdo is a pixelated
Yes,
character
you're
from
right.
the 80s.
Where-
That's where that begins. And
But
ends.
what does he identify as?
Backpedal.
A woman, actually.
Evacuate premises now.
I believe canonically Birdo is a transsexual character.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Moving on.
Anyways,
Next.
Rabbit hole.
Shut down.
we'll take that. Well,
Let's hit the buzzer on that one.
it may not be the best answer, but it's the most recent answer, and therefore it is the answer.
Sounds
so,
good.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's fine.
All right, so but we have
Moving
more
on.
games to talk about, right?
No, we're talking about Birdo.
Well, Overwatch
Get
Season
out.
2 started. We've done some
Oh,
more
yeah.
VR.
Time for me to
around
get
the
out. Sorry.
space.
I was wrong.
That and Deus Ex.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, let's do that one. Let's do Deus Ex.
Thank you.
So that just came out.
All right, let's do Overwatch.
Do we just want to knock out Overwatch real quick? Because that's not going to take too long.
Never happens.
Let's do
Never
Deus
happens.
Ex.
I
I
wanna do
really
Deus
am
Ex. That's
interested.
one.
Okay, so
'Cause I heard some
who-
stuff.
Who here played Human Revolution?
I did.
Okay.
I also did.
Yes, I beat
So-
it.
Okay.
I also
Did
got
you
to
like
the
it?
very end and stopped playing for no reason.
That's not what beat it.
You might want to play it first because that'll help out a lot.
Well, I played the entire game. I was literally on the last boss. I just can't remember if I actually.
There's no shame in
Dude,
that.
the bosses in that game are rough.
It was the worst part of the game.
Oh, those
like,
those
hands
bosses.
down,
Yeah.
and I don't
Well,
think
that's
anybody's
because it was
gonna
made by a different studio.
Yeah.
All the boss fights were literally made by a different studio.
They fixed that though.
Yeah.
Well, it was the number one before we get into Mankind Divided. And I know this is a well-trodden path, so I don't even want to go down the whole.
Yeah, this
thing.
is not hot breaking news.
No, this is not
From
breaking news.
when
from,
I was a
from
freshman in
4
college.
years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, bro.
5 years ago, whatever. So yeah, I played it 3 laptops ago.
That's a good way of marking time.
That's my new time
Nice.
measurement.
Yes.
3 laptops ago on Ultra, so it must have been a while
It was
ago.
pretty.
On Ultra.
It was pretty.
So, but the thing of the game is, like, I played that game 100% non-violent. Like,
Scrub.
I snuck around every single person I could, and anybody who was completely in my way and I could not avoid them, I just knocked them out. Like, I just choked them out and left them alive. But I didn't kill anybody. But the boss fights basically make you get in a gunfight, like, no matter what you do. There's no way around
Right.
it. And even if you decide to, like, so the first boss in that game, it makes you do this kind of, you have to gunfight him. I used my trank gun or whatever you had, like the stun gun, the electric gun that, like, didn't
Yeah,
kill
there was
people.
the trank rifle and the stun gun.
Yeah, so I used that, like, and it took like 1,000 hits, but it killed, but it finished it. But I was like, because I'm like, I'm not killing this guy or whatever.
And
And then it goes into the cutscene, and they're full of bullet holes and bleeding out and dying. And I'm like, what the hell? Way to go, game, and not acknowledge anything that I just did.
That's one thing I always loved
That
about
moment when the devs don't expect you to be that persistent with the stun gun.
that's one thing I always like. Quick side on Metal Gear, like you could kill and or like stun like the enemies, and that like it depended on like what stuff you got at the end. If you just like didn't kill them, like you got better stuff. But oh man, you better be in for the long haul with that.
Well, one of the games that did it really well was Dishonored, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Good game.
Dishonored was Dishonored basically it really acknowledged if you were killing people or like knocking them out or whatever, and like even like the bosses, there was always like a non-violent answer to the bosses. You didn't have to assassinate them. You could like get them sent to a slave labor camp
Yeah,
or like
you didn't even have to
or
pull
get
your
them
sword out.
get them arrested or whatever.
The world
instead
would
of-
change too, which was awesome.
Right. So
Yeah.
so I didn't. Again, I played that game completely non-violent once I realized I could do that. In the very beginning of the game, you're breaking out of prison, and the game gives you like a dagger, and it's like, kill this guard. And
Yeah, it doesn't
it's,
even
it's like
tell
it's in the
you.
tutorial. It doesn't tell you you have the
Yeah.
option not to kill the guard. It's just like, here's a dagger, kill this guard. So I did it, just like I'm learning the mechanics. I'm like, okay, this is what this game is. And then I'm halfway through like Prison Break, and I was like, all right, you can choke these guys out and like not kill them. I'm like, what? Where was this?
Yep.
Fight? That guy just died back there.
That
did
man
not
had a
need
wife
to.
and
I
kids.
killed a man.
I think I was supposed to tell you something first. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to kill anyone.
What? I think I threw a trident into his heart.
I love the swordplay in that game, so I just killed everybody.
Fuck.
So I didn't. So
That's
after that,
so
I didn't
good.
kill anybody.
There's a trend I'm noticing
But there
where
was-
you just are very violent.
Yeah. I want to kill everything.
But it acknowledges
Set
Watch
us on
people
fire.
burn.
There was a horse, and I shot it.
I'm gonna
A million
keep
times.
steamrolling. But
for
basically,
it.
there was like I think there was 3 different endings you can get in that game, and they depended on kind of where you fell on the darkness scale of like, did you go like pretty much all nonviolent?
Yeah.
Did you like kill some people and go half nonviolent, or were you just
It
like,
actually
a
really
murdering,
punishes violence.
really
I found.
murdering some
Dishonored?
So the game,
Yeah.
it's-
Like
so-
it was like an option, but not
The
really.
end game is basically like the world's ending if you kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
well,
over.
yeah, totally. Like there's like swarms of rats in the city that
Mm-hmm.
can kill you. Like if you kill people, like there's more of them, and there's like more enemies, and like they're harder to kill.
power.
But it's actually kind of an interesting thing because if you're killing everybody, you have some really high level like upgradable killing powers. They can kill like groups.
You've
of
been getting
people.
all the experience from it.
Well,
is that what
like
you
getting
mean?
experience in front.
So-
And also, but there's also powers where you can send in like a tornado that like kills everybody in like a 20-meter radius.
We
or,
need
Or
a
the
counter
swarm of
that
fucking
tallies how many
rats.
or
times
like a
we said
swarm of
kill.
rats that will
Yeah.
like swarm a guy and like eat him down.
Am
but
I-
there's no corpse.
Am I wrong too? Didn't like Emily's drawings change too? The more
Yes.
violent you were, it influenced
Yes.
her, and she'd be like, "Look what I drew, Corvo," and it's like just fucking decapitating a person or something.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't do that.
No,
so I
they,
didn't,
Oh, man.
They did that.
Yeah,
Like,
Is that the little
it's
girl at the
awesome.
beginning?
It's so good.
yeah, it was the little girl you're basically protecting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throughout the
your daughter.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
for a really old game as well.
For a really old game that totally didn't hide it at all.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
never gonna finish that game, but I can't believe you just spoiled it.
Oh my god.
If
Kendall's
you haven't
mom's
finished
gonna be so pissed in
Dishonored,
the comments.
you should.
So yeah, if you haven't played Dishonored, you absolutely should.
Fuck,
but to
Dishonored's
flip-
so good.
To flip it is like I really like the fact that like yes, I don't necessarily look at it as like punishing the player by adding all those extra things. It basically just it raised the level of combat challenge to what you were willing to put out. So like if you didn't kill people, it made the game kind of stay stealth, right? You had to kind of stay in the shadows, sneak around people, think your way through situations. But if you just ran out and killed people, you were pretty deadly. If it was just one guy and there weren't swarms of rats and they weren't like extra power, like you could just kind of steamroll shit.
Yeah,
Actually
and the
pretty
rats
good.
would
I might
make
go back
So,
and play that game.
so if you
That's
did,
pretty
so
good.
if you did
Remastered
start killing
edition.
people,
Do it.
it basically the world kind of steps up to your level.
Exactly,
where it's
yeah,
just
it makes it
it's like,
harder.
oh, you're really evil and crazy. Well, now the world's evil and crazy,
Yeah.
and like you have to be even more nasty to get by all these rats and all these really hard enemies.
Now I want to play Dishonored again.
That was a fun game.
It's
I
also not
cannot
that
wait
long.
for the
It's
second
not-
one.
it's not
No, it was
that-
only 8
yeah,
hours.
it's
Yeah.
about an
When's the
8-hour
second
run.
one coming out?
Well, that sounds like
November, maybe?
it's really a
Maybe
24-hour
maybe
game,
earlier.
though. Like,
Yeah, you could knock it out pretty
well,
quick.
if you played it through an 8, but it sounds like
You
there's
wanna
3
replay it.
layers, right? So you could.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, I've said it on here before. The DLC is fucking awesome.
Oh,
as well.
yeah. I never
Oh yeah,
finished
we
the
talked
DLC.
about the DLC a bit.
Yeah, I think that was almost my game of the year since I just
Yeah.
The
I hadn't
DLC.
played anything for that
That was
year.
a while ago.
All right, so yeah, I really
Anyway,
like,
so
it
Deus
acknowledge
Ex,
what you did.
yeah.
So Deus Ex.
Yeah, no, like, no. I totally agree with everything you just said. But, what was I talking about?
We're talking about
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Wait, what part?
Deus Ex, not as good as
we
Dishonored.
Really didn't get
Move
into
on.
it at all.
Yeah, all right, so
we got off
yeah.
the tracks like before.
we started
even
Human
got on 'em.
Revolution talking.
Yeah.
just
So
being
just to like kind of wrap up on like because it's not one of the sequels for a game that like you could theoretically not play the original. They're
prequels, right?
they're
to the
prequels to
original?
the original
Yeah.
Deus Exes, but there is a legit 12-minute long intro video that plays at the beginning of the game that
Now
goes
that's a
through
Metal Gear thing to do.
that goes through the whole like it doesn't just like quick summary, it literally goes through each fucking section, and it's awesome because I played
Oh.
that game like 4 years ago and I'm
Right.
like that happened
Yeah.
and that happened.
I
And
remember these things.
it's very much like a lot of like the little details and characters that weren't like too big can come back in like other ways, and I'm like I remember like it was very nice of them to
But
do that.
you do not import your save game from
No,
Human
you do not.
Revolution. All right, that's kind of a good thing because, like I said,
They're-
3
So I
laptops
ruined the
ago.
world.
They're-
So they do that, and also I heard during the loading screens they recap on the story where
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah, they
That's
do
good.
like
Oh, I
little
love that.
That's really
sections
cool.
where like they do a quick summary.
Where
Yeah.
did I
and stuff.
see that? What was the first game I saw?
Arkham Knight did it.
Oh.
All the Arkham games.
There's a
actually did it.
few games for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, so
Maybe Red Dead did
Mankind
that.
Divided. What's the take on it so far?
So, off the bat, one of my favorite things that they did was they didn't depower you at the beginning.
Nice.
You have all your abilities. You are a fully loaded Adam Jensen, fresh out of Human Revolution, even though it took place in the story 2 years ago. But I mean, like, you have all the stuff you built up, like, you still have it. And then at a certain point, you basically get rebooted, and you can build back up to that again, like right there. But then you have all these new abilities that, if you want, you can start kind of mixing
it
and
basically
matching.
just like gives you the option to respec.
Yeah, but the thing is, the new abilities actually are, you have to like, it overheats your system, so you basically have to like, you get a little meter at the bottom, and you have to kind of like, well, if I have giant blades that come out of my wrist, I can't have the ability to pick up heavy objects. Like, you have to like kind of weigh it out.
You have to make a choice. So if you make a choice to take one of these new abilities, it takes away old ones.
You have to basically deactivate them temporarily, or you could you can kind of switch back and forth a bit. But there is supposedly, I'm still working on it, a way to get all of them. You have to get like this special tool, But at least at first, you have to kind of tweak it. Unfortunately, right now, a lot of those new abilities aren't very useful to me because you can pretty much, like, at least for where I am in the game, when I'm probably about 9-10 hours in at this point, like,
Damn, that's pretty far.
I've been going
If you were
ham.
Dishonored, you would have beaten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. But I would say it's probably about a 20-25 hour game total if you really want to dig into it.
Wait, how do you know that?
Because that's, about what the original was, and that's what everybody's saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just out of curiosity. I checked how long to beat, and it was about around that.
That's pretty good. That's so long, actually. That's crazy.
That's about how the other one was, and I've just been playing it at night because I loved Human Revolution. And it feels like a more condensed Fallout. Like, I have a little bit more direction, and, like, I still have an inventory I can tweak, and, like, choices, like, feel like they actually have a little bit more impact because it's, like, everything is in front of you, and it's not, like, so sprawling. The one thing I have to say about the game that's not good, though, the lip sync is terrible.
I was hoping it was going to be about horses.
Oh, yeah, there's a horse that just runs through, like...
You can't kill it.
The
Kill it.
lips... No people to set on... Actually, there are people to set on fire. But
It takes
that's,
more than one laser shot.
Your little smile there creeped me out.
It's like, yes.
There are people to burn. Smile.
But just, like, when you're talking to people and, like, the animations for, like, that, like, Mass Effect Kyle conversations, like... So anyway, and it's just like, oh, man, I just have to, like, look at the subtitles sometimes just to, like, not look, because they do, like, that super over gesture animation.
Right,
Like,
so that's
we're
what you just mimed,
conversing.
yeah.
Like, it's a little thing, and it's not really a big deal, but it's just like, it just...
Takes you out of it for a
Yeah,
second.
it really,
Yeah.
like, and the world itself is gorgeous.
So I heard that it's actually, on PC particularly, they're saying if you can crank it up to ultra, the game is, like, just
It's-
fucking beautiful.
The thing that they nailed in Human Revolution, they brought back, I remember watching a dev diary for it, was you just used the word clutter. Uh-oh. They just used the word clutter. There's just, like, you walk into an office here and there's paper, there's printers, just stuff everywhere. It looks like it's actually lived in. It's not just, like, a dude typing away at a keyboard, a monitor that doesn't even have a computer or wires attached to it. It actually looks like a living space or, like, place where people are.
Yeah, the first one, I loved how the first one, it had a really good approach to, like, lived-in cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool because, like, what I liked about the aesthetic was that it brought through, like, there were, like, clearly antiques, right? Like, which would exist in, in some stage, I guess, of, like, a super future like this. There will definitely be a point where, like, yeah, there's this blend of worlds like that. And I thought that was super believable and really nice.
It felt good.
Yeah.
Like you could actually walk around and it, like, a continuation of our time period
That begs
now.
a question. One of the things that I dug about Human Revolution, now, when you went on, like, the boss missions, you kind of warped to, like, a different area that was self-contained to be that mission that you were on. But for the most part, the game took place in, like, a hub city. I can't remember where it was.
There was a couple. There was Detroit,
There was Detroit,
Yeah.
then, like, Hong Kong.
Montreal, and Hengsha,
Yeah, okay.
which was
Wow, good job.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
you
they've
just
mentioned it, like, multiple times in the game, so I was like,
Yeah. So each one of those hub levels, like, there's a lot to do, just, like, to run around and check stuff out, and you can get into, like, side quests and, like, get some little bit of experience, a little bit of money. But if you didn't want to engage in any of that stuff, or if you just want to, like, break into some random buildings just to see what's in there, like, you could do that.
Yeah.
And, like, it felt really cool. They weren't huge and they weren't super deep, but it was, like,
No,
just enough
it
to feel
was-
like this is a place and you can, like, explore it.
If
It was
people
the
live
best
here-
kind of open world design,
Yeah.
which is a series of linear levels that are, you know what I mean, like very guided, deliberate, smaller spaces that are just a lot of
Loaded.
them connected,
Yeah,
and that's how I like.
Yeah, they're all
that,
crafted chunks.
It
Right.
felt-
So if you
Yeah.
broke into the
Yeah.
gas station, like, you had to break in through, like, that one freaking grating, like, air duct or something, and then you'd go through, like, what?
Something is
Yeah,
happening.
it's,
A funny,
Half the
funny
room is
picture.
Clark's
Clark's
dissolved into
fault.
giggles.
It's Clark's fault.
All right.
Share, please.
whatever it is, it's his fault.
All right, so this is what? Let me see this.
All right. Show the
sorry. No, I
teacher.
wanna see it.
Show the teacher.
Pass your notes up front, Clint. I'll
Said,
read it.
"Dad, I want to be C-3PO."
I don't know Deus Ex, so I was redditing.
I don't know them Deus Ex.
I was redditing, and it was this guy sharing a childhood memory. I'll just read it for the audience. This reminds me of when my brother and our friend decided to act out all the Return of the Jedi. We got to the scene in Jabba's throne room. My brother got to play Luke, and I, of course, had to play Jabba, which involved sitting on the couch with my legs out to the side. But we needed Princess Leia in a sexy slave costume, and all we had was our friend Mark. Eventually,
No.
we
no.
persuaded him to strip down to his underwear. And in spite of his protests and evident humiliation, draw a broad. But halfway through the scene, my dad walked into the living room and just stopped and stared. There was me, sitting on the couch with my legs out to the side, my brother standing in front of me, and our friend Mark crouched in front of the couch in his underwear with a bra drawn on him in bed. He was so embarrassed that he jumped up, grabbed his clothes, and ran home. So sorry for interrupting the podcast, but
That was perfect.
Also, the picture is of a child with C-3PO's body drawn on him. Actually looks exactly like my little brother when he was young, which is
What does that do
hilarious
with
to me as
Mankind
well.
Divided? So
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry.
That was
cut that right out of
Yeah.
that was
Good job,
amazing.
Clark.
That was amazing. All right. Yeah, that's all still there, except this time around.
What? I don't even remember what's on.
We're talking about the hub worlds.
That'll be in the
Okay.
show notes.
As far as I can see right now, the game, for the most part, takes place in Prague. But the thing is, it's broken up into like 5 districts that you have to take train rides to, which has the best loading screen I've seen in the game in a long time, because it's literally just badass Adam Jensen taking a subway ride. And it's just like it's him literally standing on the
playing
subway.
a Game Boy next to him.
Like, and there's just
on
people
certain-
just hanging out, just like, and it's like 45 seconds, just like him just.
They're
on the
not
subway.
weirded out by the guy in like the giant
Well,
fucking trench
they're all
coat
augmented
and
too,
sunglasses next to
because
him.
he's on the augmented train, which that goes into the whole social issues
Yeah.
of the game.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I love that. That's a really.
I'm gonna go into that
Yeah.
in a bit because there's a lot to unpack there, but just trying to get the game. So that all exists. So like, and those worlds are about the size of Hangsha or Montreal or Detroit from the first game, and at certain segments you do go to other areas too. Like for missions and stuff, you do go to different parts, and those are worlds of themselves.
Is this still structured in a way that there are multiple approaches, or is
Yes.
it? Yeah. Okay.
Loaded with possibilities.
That's
Yeah.
the hallmark of the series. Like,
Yeah.
if they made it completely linear, it would just be a failure. Like,
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's been done before.
I think
just
out
do
of
a series.
there was one mission where you're trying to get into basically a stronghold for Ark, which is their like non-violent. You drunk on mic still? They're
saved.
the non-violent like augmented rights group, and you're just trying to get in there because he's like the main guy's like an enemy of the state because he is not the state, but. It's literally what it breaks it down to because I need a scapegoat. But I think in
More
the
like
one,
a state goat.
yeah,
Thank you. That was
But-
All right,
there-
podcast is over.
Yeah.
loved it.
there's like I think in that one 4 or 5 different ways of just getting into it. Like you can go up with a key card, you can use a passcode talking to the guy, you can sneak in a back route with the mafia. Like there's just all sorts of ways, and if you just talk to people and explore the world, you'll find them.
Cool.
And that's what I love. It's just more condensed Fallout. It gets rid of a lot of the blank white space, and I love it for it.
Would you say it gets rid of a lot of the wasteland?
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh no.
So good.
I opened Pandora's box. More like
my
Pandora's
liver
box.
just popped, I think.
Oh God! No!
Yeah.
You guys are just mad you didn't think of these. It's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't groan any
best.
harder.
We're done.
So
Best
anyway,
podcast.
Good night, all.
I
Try
do.
to-
I'm gonna
Try to
edit
pull it
in
back.
laughs and cheers.
You just do
Good to
like
be
a
back.
growl,
Bye.
like a full house, like
Yeah.
like a whole, like an
Suddenly
audience.
there's an audience for some reason.
Someone's just, aw.
Kendall's mom.
It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
I
Kendall's
hope she
mom
likes
is going,
puns.
My
going
mom in the
ham
back
in the
cheering.
comment section right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, no, it's all there, and it's just bigger and better than before. Like they went hard.
Yeah, I heard it's great.
It's if you loved Human Revolution, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I just haven't had the time to monkey with it. We're going on a long weekend, so I might have to scoop it and give it a whirl.
You should. I heard a thing about this game.
Yeah, me too.
That,
There's a few things.
yeah,
Where
I
this
heard
is, I know where this is
something
going.
really shitty about it. Yeah,
What is
which
that?
is that it's like a full price game, but there's also like relentless microtransactions inside.
I have seen none of this.
No, that's not what I heard.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, addressing that first, like it might be there, but it's probably like there you can for a lot of the upgrades for like your weapons and also to get like little tools. There's what's it called, scrap parts, and then you can use that scrap to build various stuff. So I'm gonna take a wager that's probably it.
Well, no. If you've got like 8 or 9 hours in this game and you're not even quite sure where these are, that's
I
interesting,
have
and I will
not
leave it at that.
Seen
that's
any
good.
of it?
Yeah.
That's a good skull.
Then
Like,
it's 100% what I was worried about. Sounds like it's not there.
Like I mean, it could be there if you really wanted to, but
Yeah.
I have not
Well, if
needed
you-
it or
if they-
noticed it.
If you haven't been forced to see it, then
Yeah.
Right,
then it's out of
that's
your way,
and that's
then it's
exactly
fine.
what I was worried about. Like I had heard to some degree that it even was built into the gameplay.
I've seen none of this.
Okay.
That would be horrendous.
That would be-
what I-
yeah.
Be awful.
idea to monetize.
So
Get
we're
out.
doing that, right?
I have
So
a game
actually-
design
EA
idea.
developers, unsubscribe now. 5 minutes ago.
That's all our listeners know.
Except for Kendall's mom.
So
Dear
she
Square
works for
Enix.
EA.
But yeah, no, I've not seen any of this at all.
Okay.
So there's another thing that I wanted to ask if you had tried yet, because the Ars Technica review was very, very positive about the game, and very positive. They're very cool. There's like they took Human Revolution,
and it's
cleaned
worth
it up.
noting that the thing I heard also was that the microtransaction stuff was not in the build they gave to reviewers. So if reviews that don't mention it, that's why.
I mean, maybe there is a multiplayer quote unquote component, kind of, where it's called Breach.
So that's exactly what I was about to bring up. So the review for the game, basically the dude, like the tagline that he gave it was just like a great fucking game with an extra game in it.
Yeah.
And there's like basically he reviewed the whole game and he's like, at this point I would tell you to buy the game like right now. It's great. But they also went out of their way to build a whole second game that they added into the game, which uses all the mechanics that they'd built up to play it and spins it back like the old Metal Gear VR missions. So it's like quick kill, like you can jump in, it'll drop you into like a random room with like a bunch of things, like it's like a 5-minute mission that you have like to clear it, and then you clear it and you upgrade that little character, and so it's like a ton of tiny little missions that are very like bare bones, sparse, like not like the full real world stuff. It's like kind of I don't know, I guess
Isn't
call
that-
it cyberpunk-y
Didn't
or
they
whatever,
kind of
but-
go in the Hitman route or something like that? Is that what I heard about that mode? They
No, I
wanted
think
to update it like
I think it was-
weekly or monthly challenge or something like that.
I mean, this gives them the option to keep adding stuff
I think
forever.
I
Well,
think I
they've
heard
already
they're gonna do
announced
that.
the first story DLC for the game.
Not even like story, like
Yeah.
what John's talking about, but like expanding that mode, giving like special missions and stuff, just like the new Hitman is basically.
Well, the new Hitman, I think, is like full missions. They just broke them up
Episodic.
into episodes.
But then they have the do you remember the name of it? The
of what?
the special mods on missions in Hitman, like the secondary things
I
that they
never
do.
really played those actually.
Yeah, they give you like new ways to approach missions, and then it's like an increasing. I forget the name of the mode, but I watched like people play it on Twitch and stuff. It's just like an increasing like. So first you go in and you have to kill this guy, but then you go in and you have to kill this guy wearing this certain outfit. Then
Oh,
you have to
yeah,
go in and
so-
kill this guy wearing this certain outfit, and then poison this other person.
They
and
did
it
a
keeps
thing way
building.
back when it was called contracts or something like that, where like people could put out people could create their own basically, and like
For Hitman or
and-
Deus
for
Ex?
Hitman, and like
Okay.
post it, and it would basically they'd do that kind of thing, like kill
Yeah.
the guy wearing a chicken outfit and then
Yeah.
poison his cake, and like and you got points for if you went and did it their way. Or whatever.
Yeah,
But this
that's
was
like
all
a-
completely optional, had nothing to do with the main story. It was just added challenges. After
That's
the
an
fact that
entire
the community
mode
was
in the new
created.
one, and I heard Deus Ex is possibly doing something similar.
With this new mode, I guess they could. I was just wondering if you had played it at all.
I
Because it
have-
sounded exactly like the old Metal Gear Solid VR missions,
That's
which
what-
was basically
yeah.
taking the Metal Gear mechanics
Yeah.
and taking all of the graphics and all the extraneous bullshit and just stripping it down to bare bones. This is the interactable stuff.
Yep.
Play the game, do the puzzle fast, and like figure it out. And they made a whole fleshed out version of this where you like upgrade your guy and do this whole thing.
I would love a Dishonored version of that.
So I just thought that was really interesting because they clearly did not have to make this mode at all.
No,
but they added it on anyway. So
I have not played it personally, but I have seen a lot of videos of it, and I've heard it's exactly what you said.
So my question is from like a game developer perspective. I mean, do you think that's a way to test and develop different mechanics? Like, did they build that first, and then the game came out of those explorations? Or
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
I would completely, if I had to venture a guess, I would say that they built that as a tool to test. They built testing tools to like test out different interactions and whatnot, and they got to the point where like, hey, these little testing things are pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Usually, what happens is if somebody makes a couple of cool ones, they start passing them around the office. And if like that becomes popular enough, then like the managers start being like, "Is this something we should put in?"
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened to Nazi Zombies. That's how that all started.
That's what happened to Nazi Zombies. That's what happened to crafting in Fallout.
Yeah, like
I mean, talking about like they used it to make all this crap feel useful, but basically like the dev teams were building their own little crazy things, and they had like those tools where you could walk around in first person mode and place like walls and stuff. They're like, "What would it take to actually ship this?" And they're like, it might take a lot. And so they actually said they weren't shipping it. And then like a month before they were doing it, like actually this fits. And they're like,
cool.
Ship it. Nice. Everybody on the team loves
at
it.
At E3, pretty much. That's when that all got announced.
Yeah, so everybody internally in the company had been using these things and they really liked it. So it was like, this is fun, add it, like put it in the game. So
nice.
So yeah, I would Geometry Wars was the same deal. Geometry Wars was a twin stick input test. Just to make sure that they could read values off the Xbox controller. A dude made it over lunch to test their input settings, and he made it kind of cool enough that the people in the office started playing it. And they're like, if we gave you 3 days, could you make this something that's like its own thing? And the guy's like, I can try. And then fucking Geometry Wars.
Nice.
And then one of the most selling games on Xbox Live Marketplace. But back to Mankind. So yeah, like in that regard, it's just more of Human Revolution, except like way more refined and more advanced. Oh man, I'm loving every second of it. Now getting into a little bit of the mud. Not that it's bad, but it's like the social issues. They're going hard into the paint for that. And it's like at one. This is a regular event where if you like, so like for the subway, there's an augmented line, and then the quote-unquote natural line. And if you happen to go on the wrong subway or like go through the wrong line, the police will literally stop you and like ask for your papers, and you have to sit there for like 5 minutes to like get everything run through. And it's just like, wow, this is awkward. Like as a white male, this is an interesting.
You know how it feels.
Yeah, yeah. So now we're just like, no, I got you, bros. But we're like the same now. But like they go hard. Like all the news is just talking about like after the events of the first game, which were not to spoil anything, like earth shattering across the globe, like horrific.
That's pretty much right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still like it's kind of like the fallout from that, and everything's like. And the reason that most of the game takes place in Prague is like that's the hotbed of all like this anti-augmented just like unrest. Like you'll just be walking around and like a bombing will happen. Like just like the world will shake and you'll hear an explosion.
Yeah.
And like there's another terrorist bombing. Like and it's just like going deep. You'll just find like beatings and shootings like of police investigating afterwards. There's a concentration camp for augmented. Like, and it's called Gollum City, and you actually go there, and it's
seems like the wrong side wins in this fiction, just purely in terms.
Well,
of
if you're going, the thing is, it's a prequel.
Well, I mean,
so
also,
you know how it ends, kind of, and
if you
it like
the game from...
it gets resolved, but it's just like the whole darkest before the dawn sort of thing.
Well, I guess that's my question as a filthy casual. Like, could I pick up this game and play it and enjoy it?
There's different settings. There is, and at the beginning, it kind of goes the Mass Effect route of pick the setting if you just want the story. Like, the combat is negligible, blah. There's this is what Deus Ex is meant for. Like, items are still highlighted that you can interact with the world. You get a challenge, but you also get a little bit of story. This is the way the game's meant to play, is literally what it says. Then there's we're going to start getting harder, and none of the items are highlighted, and the enemies are a lot more difficult. And then there's you have to beat the game first, which is the one life run, where if you die, you start over. run. I'm never gonna touch that.
Iron
But
Man.
yeah, but that to answer your question, there is like a setting for if you wanted to just get the story.
I'm sure you could play it on normal. You play enough
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and well, and I meant kind of along the lines of like this is real late in the series, but I guess it's a prequel, so maybe
Well,
I'm just can I pick it up and still enjoy it, not knowing the universe?
The prequels.
There's a 15-minute intro video.
Yeah, there is for the
Yeah.
first game though, and then all the other games, technically speaking, like
Haven't happened yet.
haven't happened, and to put it bluntly, I almost want to say like, I mean, the original Deus Ex. We won't talk about Invisible War. But this is a prequel technically for 2 games, but only one of them was like the lauded one. The other so it's technically a prequel for 1 game, which was Deus Ex, which was released like in the 90s.
Short answer is you're fine. You
Yeah.
can fire it up. You should be able to pick it up.
You-
Sounds like they did a pretty good job of like doing a recap on anything that, because I would, even though I played the hell out of Human Revolution, I would need a quick recap to just.
Oh yeah,
that's
they
this
played
guy,
the video and
there's
there
this
was
guy.
shit that I like totally didn't remember at all. And then they make references, and I think in Human Revolution there was a grand total of 1 references to the later Deus Ex, and it
The
was like
original.
a dude's name, and that was it. And like, so I would say you could probably pretty easily, as long as you watch that tutorial, or not tutorial, that video, you can probably get a pretty good grasp on the situation. It would help out a lot.
As long as I took a nice bump at intro.
Yeah. Huge intro bump.
No, not to just keep going on this, and we'll probably wrap
15-minute
up
intro
shortly here.
bump.
But basically, the Deus Ex games were always just great for like being able to play your own style. Like if you're just like, I don't care about all this, like I need to make this happen. I just want to go through fast, and I don't care, and I'm an evil son of a bitch. You could run in the front door with a shotgun and just go crazy, and like unlock skills that make you like be able to take more damage and like kick people through walls and like rip somebody's head off. You can do all of those things, or you can be like, I'm going to be a freaking ghost, and I'm gonna make my guy so he can jump 3 stories high, so I can get on the roof.
Yeah,
And
but
then
I
This
always
is a
felt
cat
like
versus
can-
Futch type of gameplay.
Deus Ex is the one game.
You guess which style I play.
No.
Deus Ex is the one game where I actually will kind of do a little bit of the middle of the road. Like if I can sneak up on somebody, I will just knock them out because it's faster. Like you have to either tap the button real quick or you have to hold it to actually kill them. Yeah, they can get up afterwards, but I also discovered they don't know how to unlock doors. So if you put them in a room and lock the door behind you, you're good.
that-
Great,
but-
actually.
that kind of I think supports a point I was about to make, which was that I despite being able to play it a variety of ways, I feel like it supports the stealth approach firmly. Like
At the
it's-
beginning, yes.
Well, are you in the new one? You mean?
In both of them, like you were a piece of tissue paper at the beginning. Like you'll get torn up.
Yeah, I don't
If
know.
you
I
tried.
felt like Human Revolution all the way through was really a stealth game. I mean, not that they didn't do a good job with other approaches, but
I feel like story-wise, yes. Just because, even in this game, like Adam Jensen is described as a quote-unquote covert agent. Like he's kind of meant to sneak around
right.
and.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, covert is more just like you're just not publicly acknowledged. It doesn't mean you can't go in there
That's-
and kill all the witnesses.
That becomes clandestine at that point, but like, it feels like when you pick out the pocket secretaries that are like hidden around, like you actually kind of explore and people are walking around. The game, the story-wise, it's a little better, kind of Dishonored style, where if you can kind of like just get in, get out without really touching anything. Because in this one, even more than the last one, like there was one mission where I had to sneak into a terrorist bombing site that the state police had taken over, and your group's trying just to like get info out of it. And I was trying my damnedest to like, just because it's the police, I'm not gonna try to fuck with them. And at some point, like somebody spotted me, and I didn't kill anybody, but it was like they were definitely shooting at me.
Hashtag Blue Lives Matter.
Hagman, odd lives matter. Thank you.
Hog lives.
But
I mean,
but after that, like everybody was like, we heard they shot at you. Like, is everything okay? Like, it was wrong. Like, it actually changed how things were because of the fact that like an actual fight broke out.
Yeah, they would react differently, and I'm with you because I don't know as much about the run and gun version of the other game. The original Deus Ex definitely, but I definitely also know people who played Human Revolution basically as like a cover shooter. Like they're like, I did not sneak around and hack nothing. Like I went in the front door with an M16 and I fought all these guys. And they ended up seeing way more guards than I ever saw because when you set off alarms or like, and they also react harder. Like when they are aware of your presence, like they fight, like they're in fight mode. They'll take cover and shoot at you, and they're much more deadly than if you catch them unawares.
The AI is on point too. Like they did a really good job with that. Like they don't just like
so it doesn't just let you steamroll. It's still a
walk in
challenge
one
to do
line,
it the other way.
stare at a wall for a little bit, turn around and walk to stare at this wall for a little while. Like they actually feel like they will hunt you down like Metal Gear style, where they actually will like surround you and actually come at you like you would. I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but it feels like they're actually coming after you.
Kendall and the Mountain, what are your builds like in that game?
Haven't played.
Weak.
Yep.
I'm the mountain.
He's a mountain.
I do
Doug Gregor.
So I see you probably use the Rhino armor. Yeah.
stealth. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to ask one more question, and then I think we can probably wrap it up for this week. But one of the things that I actually enjoyed that was very divisive in the last one that a lot of people didn't like was the hacking minigame.
I kind of like that actually.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did
so
like
it. I always felt like it didn't bore me. I always felt like there was a little bit of a challenge, especially the harder ones. Like there's a little bit of a challenge. You're
Kick
kind
the
of
shit out of
clock.
Bioshock's version of that.
Oh, yeah.
You mean
Yeah.
the cheap Mario Plumber
Yeah.
minigame thing?
So anyway, like I like that. A lot of people didn't like it. I heard they revamped it this time. They stuck close to Human Revolution, but they kind of trimmed it down a little. So I was wondering if you've engaged with that a little.
I
bit.
have seen no trimming down. If anything, they just refined it a little bit more.
Well, I guess that's the way that I put it. They didn't take powers away, or they didn't take complexity out. They just made it like visually make sense easier.
I guess it looks exactly the goddamn same to me,
Okay.
which means that like all that logic still carried over. Like you're gonna augment yourself to kind of make it better. But I feel like they might have added a little bit more just because sometimes it's dark and you have like special software that can show everything. I think they've made it a little bit better, in that it kind of gets to the puzzle of like, it's hard, but I feel good about myself after it's over. It feels like you're like, I don't know, like it's hard to like hack in a game. I did finger quotes for that, but it feels like you actually are like trying to worm your way into
At least
something.
they used like somewhat normal nomenclature and like
It's like databases,
and almost
right?
even
Data-
they almost
databases,
even use
spam.
like UML diagram, like
Yeah.
iconography too, like databases,
Yeah.
and, like file systems look like they would be if you actually were like diagramming the system or whatever. But it, like how it hunts you through the system, you can see what the like it's you, and then like there's the server or like the anti-AI like kind of
Yeah.
hunting you through the system, and you have to like block it off
Lock
and,
it,
like,
yeah.
and like take over different nodes before they can get you and like get to the one that like gets you access to the data.
Once
And,
you get a high enough level, like the lower level ones
become cake.
are just nothing. Like at this point, I can walk through a lot of them. The level 5 ones don't even try. Just there's a call multi-tool, and you just point it at something, and it takes a while, but like it'll unlock it. Just make sure you have enough money, because even if you have the ability to unlock everything and you have all this powers maxed out, those are horrifyingly difficult.
Even if you have maxed hacking power, like the
If you
highest
have
hacking ones.
everything, like
'Cause
that's
that was one of the things that I dumped, like every point that I was able to dump into like hacking. the
yeah.
other one,
If
like,
you
I
loved
did,
hacking,
and
I'm
then,
glad,
like,
because it's back in force. Like
Right.
it's there.
all right, I think you might have just sold me on at least trying this thing, and I'm gonna come
Yeah,
back in next week and be
it's
like, fucking hacking's lame. Like,
I've like if I don't think I've gone through a single mission where I haven't hacked at least 3 or 4 things, just to like kind of get myself in. I'm very much of the aggressive stealth person, where I will take you out if like, but quietly. I'll try to do it non-lethally.
I don't believe that based on
Well, if I see a horse,
Get the fuck out of
I'm
it.
gonna set it on fire.
I don't set
I was gonna
horses
say-
on fire.
Can we conclude this with horses should die with 1 bullet or in flames?
Well, not one bullet.
Yoshi's Woolly World is
Poop.
fun if you're in Target, and boxing out kids from the game console.
If you
What
like
do we got?
psychedelic experiences.
Yeah.
Non-Euclidean geometry is interesting and a fun way to interact.
You
with
just
stuff.
almost bored me to sleep with that sentence.
And also, hello, Kendall's mother.
Yeah. Thank you, Mom, for appearing on this podcast.
Thanks,
And
Mom.
I'm like just amazed at your experiences at EA Games and how you're our
No,
only
all those
subscriber.
games that you've made and everything.
art.
You have horses that don't
Please set up horse microtransactions
Horse armor's coming to
Horse
Battlefield
armor.
1, everybody.
and sell it for $99.
I would not be surprised, actually. That would be full circle on DLC forever.
All right. Well,
We never got to talk about it.
No, I think we got our takeaways.
Yeah.
So Overwatch
So-
Season 2 is starting.
No.
We'll get into that maybe next week.
Maybe never.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks. Glad to see Ryan and Clark back on
Hey.
the cast.
It's been a
Were you
bit.
people?
Yeah,
Hello.
I forgot.
Hi,
Hopefully
Kendall's
more
mom.
soon. You can check us out online, buffalogamespace.com, on Twitter at buffgamespace, and write us a question, info@buffalogamespace.com, and we will read it on the show if it is good.
We're all swole.
Serious.
You only hear our voices, or we're all jacked.
Especially me.
That was
All
me.
right. All right.
That was the mouth.
Take care.
all right. And
Bye.
Bye.
Mic drop. No.